William Carter stood by the large window of the transport ship. Earth looked small from here. After 30 years as a diplomat, this was his most important mission. He was the first human to meet the Galactic Council. "Ambassador, we're ready to dock at Nexus Station," said the pilot. Carter nodded. He straightened his blue uniform and checked his appearance one last time. First impressions mattered. The ship slowed as it approached the massive space station. Nexus Station was bigger than any human city, a spinning wheel of metal and light. Ships from a dozen alien worlds moved around it. "Remember, sir," said his assistant Greg Foster, "the Council has been watching us for decades. They know a lot about us, but we know very little about them." Carter smiled. "That's why we're here, Greg. To learn and to show them that humans deserve a place at their table." The ship docked with a gentle bump. Carter took a deep breath and walked to the airlock. The doors opened to reveal a long hallway lit with soft blue light. At the end stood 3 aliens. The tallest alien had blue-gray skin and 4 arms. "Ambassador Carter, I am Keltorin of the Elteri. Welcome to Nexus Station." Its voice was translated through Carter's earpiece. "Thank you for your welcome," Carter replied with a small bow. The second alien looked almost like a large cat standing on 2 legs. "I am Mira, representative of the Myriad Minds. We have waited long to meet humans officially." The third alien was the strangest. It floated above the ground, with tentacles hanging below a transparent body. "I am Vraxudel, Supreme Leader of the Council. Your presence is noted." Carter noticed the cold tone but kept smiling. "Supreme Leader, I bring greetings from Earth and all human colonies. We seek friendship and knowledge." "Follow us," said Vraxudel without responding to Carter's greeting. As they walked through the station, Carter saw many alien species. Some looked at him with curiosity, others with clear distrust. "The Council has 12 main species," explained Keltorin. "Some believe humans are ready to join us. Others think your kind is too dangerous." "Dangerous?" asked Carter. "We come in peace." "You say that," said a harsh voice from behind. Carter turned to see a tall, reptilian alien with red scales. "But humans have a history of violence. I am Krazak of the Zuraxians. We have studied your wars, your weapons. Some of us think you should be contained, not welcomed." Carter faced the Zuraxian calmly. "Every species has a violent past. We learn from our mistakes. That's what makes us civilized." Krazak made a sound like rocks grinding together. A laugh. "We shall see, human." They entered a massive circular room. Seats rose in tiers around a central platform. Representatives from different species filled the seats. Carter was led to a small podium on the platform. "The human will speak," announced Vraxudel. "The Council will then decide if further contact is permitted." Carter looked at the faces watching him. This was humanity's moment. His words would shape Earth's future among the stars. "Honorable representatives of the Galactic Council," he began. "Humans have dreamed of meeting other intelligent life for centuries. We know we are young compared to your civilizations. We have much to learn. But we also have much to offer. Our art, our music, our different way of seeing the universe." Some council members nodded. Others whispered to each other. "We seek friendship, trade, and knowledge. Earth extends its hand in peace." The chamber filled with various sounds as the aliens discussed. Carter noticed Krazak speaking intensely with Vraxudel. "The Council requires time to consider," announced Vraxudel finally. "The human ambassador will be given quarters. We will summon you when we are ready." As Carter was led away, he felt both hope and worry. Some aliens clearly welcomed humans. Others, especially the Zuraxians, seemed hostile. "What do you think?" asked Greg quietly. "I think," said Carter, "that the next few days will decide humanity's place in the galaxy." He didn't know then how right he was, or how high the price would be. 3 months passed on Nexus Station. Carter worked hard to win over the council members. He shared human music, art, and stories. Many aliens grew to like him. The Elteri and the Myriad Minds openly supported Earth joining the Council. Carter sat in his quarters reviewing notes when Greg rushed in. "Ambassador, you need to see this," Greg said, handing Carter a datapad. Carter frowned as he read. "Are you sure this is right?" "Yes, sir. Our long-range scouts found Zuraxian ships mining on Epsilon Colony's moons. They're taking our resources without permission." "This breaks Council law," Carter said. "Even for worlds not yet in the Council, stealing resources is forbidden." Carter knew this was important. If the Zuraxians were breaking rules, it would weaken their arguments against humans. "We present this at today's session," Carter decided. As they walked to the Council chamber, Carter noticed more guards than usual. The aliens avoided looking at him. "Something's wrong," Greg whispered. When they entered the chamber, Braxutal was already speaking. "The Council has received disturbing evidence," the Supreme Leader announced. "The humans have attempted to hack our secure archives." Carter stepped forward. "That's not true. We have evidence that—" "Silence," Krazek hissed. "We found your spy programs in our systems. You tried to steal our military secrets." "No," Carter protested. "We have proof that Zuraxian ships are mining our colonies illegally. That's what we wanted to present." The chamber filled with angry sounds. Carter tried to access his datapad to show the evidence, but it wouldn't turn on. "How convenient that your evidence cannot be shown," Krazek said. "Meanwhile, look at what we found." A large screen showed what looked like human code breaking into Council systems. "This is fake," Carter said. "Someone is setting us up." Braxutal floated higher. "The Council has voted. The human representative has violated our most sacred laws. For this crime, there is only one punishment." 4 guards grabbed Carter. Greg tried to help but was knocked unconscious. "You can't do this," Carter struggled. "Contact Earth. I demand to speak to my government." "All communication with Earth is now forbidden," Braxutal declared. "Your world is quarantined. No ships may enter or leave your system." The guards dragged Carter to the center of the chamber. A clear tube rose from the floor around him. "Please," Carter begged, looking at the friendly aliens. "Keltorin, Mira, you know this is wrong." The Elteri and Myriad Mind representatives looked away. As punishment for espionage, and as a warning to all humans, Braxutal announced, "This representative will face the ancient penalty." Krazek pressed a button. Flames erupted from the floor of the tube. "Earth will not forget this injustice," Carter shouted as the flames rose around him. His screams echoed through the chamber. Many aliens looked away, but the Zuraxians watched with cold eyes. Unknown to the Council, the emergency systems in Carter's uniform had activated. His last moments were being recorded and transmitted on a hidden frequency. Far away on Earth, a secure computer received the transmission. The full recording of the Council meeting, Carter's murder, and the evidence about the Zuraxian mining ships was saved. When the flames died down, nothing remained of William Carter. "Let this be a lesson," Braxutal said. "Humans are not ready for the stars. Earth is now under quarantine. Any human ships found beyond their system will be destroyed." As the Council members filed out, Krazek approached Braxutal. "The humans will accept this punishment?" the Zuraxian asked. "What choice do they have?" Braxutal replied, "Their technology is primitive compared to ours. They will learn their place." Back on Earth, the transmission was being viewed by the President and military leaders. They watched in horror as their ambassador burned. When the recording ended, the room was silent. Then President Alan Howard stood up. "Prepare our ships," he said quietly. "All of them." The video of Carter's death spread across Earth in hours. People watched in horror as flames consumed their ambassador. Anger replaced shock. In every city, crowds gathered. They demanded justice. President Alan Howard called an emergency meeting at the United Nations. Leaders from all nations and colonies sat in grim silence as they watched the full recording again. "They murdered him," said the Chinese president. and they think we will do nothing. The Zuraxians clearly set him up, said the European Union representative. They were stealing from our colonies, then killed Carter when he found out. Admiral Lisa Ramirez stood at the back of the room. She had commanded Earth's space forces for 15 years. Now she stepped forward when the president called her name. "Admiral, what are our options?" Howard asked. "We have 120 warships ready," Ramirez said. "We've been building them secretly while telling the Council we only had science vessels." Surprise showed on many faces. After first contact, Ramirez explained, "Some of us worried the aliens might not be friendly. We prepared, just in case." "Can we win against their technology?" asked the African Union leader. "They think we're primitive," Ramirez said. "But we've been studying their ships whenever they came near our space. We know more about them than they realize." Howard nodded. "What about the quarantine?" "They said they would destroy any ships that leave our system. They expect us to use the normal space lanes," Ramirez replied. "But our scientists have developed a new FTL method. We can jump directly to their key worlds without using their travel routes." The room grew quiet as people understood what this meant. Earth could strike without warning. "I never wanted war," Howard said softly, "but they've given us no choice. Admiral Ramirez, you will lead our response." Ramirez stood straight. "I accept the responsibility, Mr. President. This will be called the Carter Protocol," Howard announced. "We will show the Council that humanity is not to be treated this way." The meeting continued late into the night. By morning, Earth had a plan. At the main space dock orbiting Earth, ships gathered. The largest was the UES Vengeance, Ramirez's flagship. Scientists loaded a new weapon on board, powerful enough to destroy a moon. Ramirez addressed the fleet captains from the Vengeance's bridge. "The Council thinks we are weak," she said. "They expect us to accept their cruelty. Instead, we will show them humanity's strength, not just our weapons, but our justice." She showed them images of Zuraxian Prime, the homeworld of the aliens who had pushed for Carter's death. "This is our first target," she said. "But remember, we are not like them. We don't kill innocents. We target military bases, not civilian areas. We capture their leaders for trial, not revenge." The captains nodded. Each received specific targets and plans. On Earth, President Howard addressed the world. His face was solemn on screens everywhere. "Today, we send a message to the stars," he said. "We sought peace and were answered with barbarism. Now the Council will learn that humans defend their own." He paused, looking directly at the camera. "To any Council members watching this broadcast, we gave you the hand of friendship. You chose violence instead. Now face the consequences of that choice." In space, the fleet prepared to jump. On the Vengeance's bridge, Ramirez gave the order. "For Carter," she said, "jump." One by one, the 120 ships vanished from Earth's space, using technology the Council didn't know humans possessed. On Zuraxian Prime, it was a normal day. The Council's quarantine of Earth was considered a minor matter, already forgotten by most. They had no idea what was coming. The Zuraxian defense monitors showed nothing unusual that morning. Guards at the orbital stations followed their normal routines. In the Grand Palace, Ambassador Krazek enjoyed his victory. The humans were contained. His plan had worked perfectly. Then the alarms sounded. "Impossible," shouted the Zuraxian fleet commander as 120 human ships appeared suddenly in their space. How did they get past the quarantine? On the bridge of the UES Vengeance, Admiral Ramirez opened a channel to the Zuraxian command. "This is Admiral Lisa Ramirez of Earth. You killed one of ours. We will not kill your ambassador in return. We are not like you." Her voice was cold but controlled. "You have 1 hour to evacuate your orbital stations." The Zuraxians laughed at the message. Their defense fleet had 200 ships. Their stations had shields no human weapon could break. They sent back a single word: "No." Ramirez nodded to her communications officer. Send the evidence. Every screen on Zuraxian Prime suddenly showed Ambassador Carter's death. Next came images of Zuraxian ships stealing resources from human colonies. We know what you did, Ramirez continued. The choice is yours. Evacuate or face the consequences. Krazak ordered his fleet to attack. These humans are foolish. Destroy them all. The Zuraxian ships moved forward. The human fleet didn't retreat. When the hour ended, Ramirez gave a single order: begin. Human ships fired weapons the Council races had never seen before. The blasts cut through Zuraxian shields like they weren't there. Within minutes, half the defense fleet was destroyed or disabled. On a smaller human ship, Colonel Jack Miller prepared his team. Remember, we need their records intact, proof of what they did to Carter. His team of Marines wore advanced armor. As their ship approached the main Zuraxian defense station, they launched from small pods. The pods cut through the station walls, and the Marines rushed inside. The Zuraxians fought hard, but were surprised by the humans' tactics. Miller's team moved room by room, securing the station. Found it. Called one Marine, downloading data from the central computer. They kept records of everything, even planning Carter's murder. Meanwhile, the human fleet targeted every military installation in the system. They destroyed weapons platforms, shipyards, and defense bases. But as Ramirez had ordered, they avoided civilian areas. Krazak couldn't believe what he was seeing. The humans were supposed to be primitive, weak. Now, they were winning. Prepare my ship, he ordered. I must reach the Council. But as he ran to his private hangar, human Marines appeared. Ambassador Krazak, said Colonel Miller, pointing his weapon at the Zuraxian. You are under arrest for the murder of William Carter. Krazak hissed in rage. You cannot touch me. I am a Council ambassador. Not anymore, Miller replied. You will face trial under human justice. As the battle ended, Admiral Ramirez sent the evidence they had found to every Council world. The files showed the Zuraxians had planned to frame Carter from the beginning. They had wanted war with humans, believing it would be an easy victory. The Council races received these files with shock. The Elteri and Dorfin Federation immediately announced they were breaking from the Council decision. They called for peace talks with Earth. On the Vengeance, Ramirez received these messages with a grim smile. They thought we would be easy to defeat, she told her officers. They were wrong. What's our next move, Admiral? Asked her second-in-command. Ramirez looked at the galaxy map. The Council must learn that humanity will not be bullied or murdered. We gave them a chance for peace. They chose war. She pointed to another system on the map. We continue. As the human fleet prepared to jump again, news of their victory spread. The galaxy was learning that the primitive humans were far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. News of the Zuraxian defeat spread quickly. On Nexus Station, the Council members argued loudly. Some wanted peace with humans. Others called for total war. The Zuraxians lie to us all, shouted Keltorin of the Elteri. They framed the human ambassador, and we helped kill him. We must make peace before this gets worse. Supreme Leader Vraksutil floated higher, silencing the room. The humans have attacked a Council world. This cannot be allowed, no matter what the reason. But they only hit military targets, Mira of the Myriad Minds pointed out. They could have destroyed entire cities, but chose not to. The Voldarian representative banged his four fists on the table. They captured a Council ambassador. This is unforgivable. We must crush these humans now. The Council split into three groups. The Elteri, Myriad Minds, and Dorfin Federation wanted peace talks. The Voldarians, Nebulon Collective, and remaining Zuraxians demanded war. The other species claimed neutrality while secretly preparing for fighting. Vraksutil made the final decision. We will show these humans that the Council cannot be challenged. I am mobilizing the Council Defense Fleet. Meanwhile, a small human ship approached Nexus Station using stealth technology. Captain Samantha Rodriguez led this secret mission. Her team had trained for months for this moment. Remember, she told her crew, we need to get in, place the beacons, and get out without being spotted. And we need to find their secret files. Using fake IDs created from captured Zuraxian data, they entered the station as maintenance workers. The disguises worked perfectly. While her team placed small quantum beacons throughout the station, Rodriguez found her way to the secure archives. What she discovered there made her blood run cold. Admiral Ramirez, she reported through a secure channel. They were planning to create biological weapons designed to target humans specifically. The Zuraxians suggested it, but Vrax Util approved the research. Back on Earth, the colonies established what they called the Carter Defense Network. It was a system of platforms that could detect and destroy incoming ships. Scientists Nicole Peters and Ryan Mitchell worked day and night to create new shield technology, unlike anything the Council races had seen. The Council thinks we're following their military rules. Peters explained to President Howard, but humans have always been good at thinking differently. The President nodded. That's why we'll win this war. Not because we have better weapons, but because we're more creative. On Nexus Station, Captain Rodriguez's team finished placing the quantum beacons. These small devices would allow human ships to target specific sections of the station with perfect accuracy. As they prepared to leave, Rodriguez downloaded one final file. It showed the voting record from Carter's execution. Now they knew exactly which council members had voted for death. We have what we need, she told her team. Let's go. They slipped away from the station as quietly as they had come. The Council defense fleet grew larger each day. Over 500 warships gathered near Nexus Station. Vrax Util was confident in their superior numbers. The humans have only 120 ships, he told his commanders. We will crush them easily. But the Council races didn't understand human warfare. They had fought only small conflicts for thousands of years. Humans had studied war throughout their history. On the UE's Vengeance, Admiral Ramirez received Rodriguez's report. She studied the locations of the quantum beacons and smiled grimly. The Council still thinks we're primitives, she told her officers. They expect us to fight like they do, with standard tactics and head-on attacks. She pointed to the map of Nexus Station. We won't do that. We'll show them how humans really fight. She sent a message to Earth. The Council is preparing their main fleet. They expect us to be outnumbered. They're about to learn why humans are so dangerous. The stage was set for the largest space battle in galactic history. The Council Defense Fleet formed a protective ring around Nexus Station. 500 warships, the largest fleet ever assembled, waited for the humans to arrive. Their commanders were confident. How could only 120 human ships defeat them? The humans must surrender or be destroyed, Vrax Util announced to the Council. Their rebellion ends today. Sensors suddenly alerted them to multiple FTL jumps. The human fleet had arrived. But instead of attacking immediately, Admiral Ramirez positioned her ships just out of weapon range. They are afraid, laughed a Voldarian commander. They see our numbers and lose courage. A communication request came from the human flagship. Vrax Util allowed it to be displayed on the Council chamber's main screen. Admiral Ramirez appeared, her face calm. Supreme Leader Vrax Util, she said, you murdered our ambassador when he came in peace. You planned biological weapons to use against our people. And still, we offer you one chance. Surrender those responsible for William Carter's death for trial. The rest may leave peacefully. The Council chamber filled with angry shouts. Vrax Util rose higher, his tentacles waving in fury. You dare to demand surrender from the Galactic Council. We have ruled the stars for thousands of years. You will submit to us or be destroyed. Ramirez simply nodded. You have made your choice. The screen went dark. They do nothing, said a Nebulon commander after several minutes passed. Perhaps they are hoping for. His words were cut short as dozens of precise energy beams suddenly struck Nexus Station. The quantum beacons placed by Captain Rodriguez's team allowed the humans to target exactly where to hit. Defense systems, weapon controls, and shield generators were destroyed in seconds. The station's defenses failed, leaving it vulnerable. "Impossible," shouted Vraxutil. "How did they target so precisely through our shields?" The Council fleet moved to attack, but the human ships were already changing position. They used strange patterns that confused the alien tracking systems. When the Council ships fired, their weapons met the new human shields. The energy was absorbed or reflected back. "Their shields are unlike anything we've seen," reported a Zuraxian officer. "Our weapons have little effect." On the Vengeance, Ramirez watched the battle carefully. "Launch the boarding teams," she ordered. Small, fast ships broke away from the human fleet. They carried Colonel Miller and his Marines. Using the confusion of the battle, they approached the largest Council ships. The Marines cut their way inside and fought through the corridors. They disabled engines and weapons from within, something the Council races had never expected. They had never faced boarding actions before. "The humans are inside our ships," cried a Voldarian captain. "They fight like wild animals." The Council fleet began to break apart. Some ships retreated. Others surrendered when human Marines reached their bridges. On Nexus Station, Vraxutil realized they were losing. "Activate the station's self-destruct," he ordered. "We cannot let it fall to humans." But Captain Rodriguez was still on the station. Her team had remained hidden, waiting for this moment. They fought their way to the central control room. "Not today," Rodriguez said as she disabled the self-destruct system. But the effort cost her. When Vraxutil's guards found her team, a firefight broke out. Rodriguez was hit by energy blasts as she protected the controls. "Get the data," she told her second-in-command as she fell. "Make sure the Admiral gets it all." By the time human forces secured the station, Rodriguez was gone. She had given her life to prevent the station's destruction. Admiral Ramirez walked into the Council chamber hours later. Where Council members had once sat in judgment of William Carter, human officers now stood guard. Vraxutil and the pro-war Council members were in custody. The neutral species had surrendered. Those who had called for peace were treated with respect. Ramirez looked at the spot where Carter had died. "We did not want this war," she told the captured Council members. "You chose it. Now you will face justice for what you've done." For the first time in thousands of years, Nexus Station, the center of galactic power, had fallen. News of Nexus Station's capture spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Species that had stayed neutral now rushed to align with Earth. Many sent messages declaring friendship and offering support. On Earth, President Howard addressed the United Nations again. The room was quieter now. The initial anger had cooled into grim determination. "We have shown the Council our strength," Howard said. "Now we must show them our wisdom. We did not start this war to rule the galaxy, but to gain justice and respect." He unveiled his plan for peace. It included a memorial for Ambassador Carter on Nexus Station and recognition of Earth as an equal member in a new galactic organization. "We will not repeat their mistakes," Howard finished. "We will not rule through fear." Meanwhile, scientists from the Alteri revealed they had been secretly working with humans for years. Dr. Benjamin Wright, Earth's leading xenobiologist, met with them on Nexus Station. "We found something disturbing in the Council's secret files," an Alteri scientist told him. The Zuraxians were developing ways to use humans as biological weapons against their rivals. Dr. Wright examined the data and felt sick. They were planning to harvest human genetic material to create viruses that would only affect certain species. They saw us as raw materials. This discovery shocked even those who had supported the war against humans. The myriad minds, impressed by humanity's restraint and victory, offered a formal alliance. "Your species could have destroyed entire planets," their representative told Admiral Ramirez. "Instead, You targeted only military assets and sought justice, not revenge. We wish to learn from you. But not all council races accepted defeat. The Voldarians, closest allies of the Zuraxians, launched a desperate attack directly at Earth itself. They think our home is defenseless with our fleet away, Colonel Miller informed Ramirez. They don't know about the Carter Defense Network. The Voldarian ships appeared near Earth, expecting an easy victory. Instead, they faced hundreds of automated defense platforms. Each platform carried the same advanced weapons and shields as the human fleet. Earth's colonies, once vulnerable, were now heavily fortified bastions. The Voldarian attack was stopped before it could reach Earth's atmosphere. Your defense network is impressive, the Elteri ambassador commented to President Howard. You were more prepared than anyone realized. Howard nodded. Humans have always understood the need for both strength and restraint. We hoped for friendship but prepared for war. Admiral Ramirez took her fleet to Voldarian space next. The Voldarians expected destruction, remembering what they had done to Carter and their attack on Earth. Instead, Ramirez opened a channel to their leaders. You have seen our power. Now see our mercy. Join us as equals or face isolation, but we will not destroy you as you would have destroyed us. The Voldarians, shocked by this approach, asked for time to consider. The Nebulon Collective, seeing this exchange, surrendered without further conflict. On Nexus Station, now under human control, the captured council members faced trial. Unlike Carter, they received fair hearings with evidence presented openly. Krazak, the Zuraxian ambassador, was found guilty of murder and conspiracy. But rather than execution, he was sentenced to work helping the colonies he had tried to exploit. Justice is not about revenge, the human judge explained. It's about restoring balance and preventing future harm. As word of these trials spread, more species came to respect the humans. Even former enemies began to see them not as primitives, but as a race with wisdom beyond their years in space. The galaxy was changing. A new order was forming, and at its center stood humanity, not as conquerors, but as leaders who understood that true strength came from justice tempered with mercy. William Carter's death will not be forgotten, Ramirez told her officers as they looked out at the stars from Nexus Station. But neither will it define us. His light's work for peace will continue. Across the galaxy, a new era was beginning. 1 year after William Carter's death, representatives from all species gathered at Nexus Station. The old council chamber had been rebuilt. Where once a small group had ruled, now delegates from every spacefaring race sat as equals. Admiral Lisa Ramirez, now serving as Earth's ambassador, stood at the center of the chamber. Her uniform was different now, diplomatic blue instead of military gray. 1 year ago, we met violence with strength, she said to the gathered delegates. Today, we meet the future with hope. She unveiled a document called the Carter Accords. It established new principles for cooperation between species. No race would rule over others. All would have an equal voice. The former council chambers had been converted into a memorial hall. At its entrance, William Carter's final words were inscribed. Earth will not forget this injustice. But below them, new words had been added. Nor will we repeat it. President Howard arrived from Earth for the ceremony. The old council believed strength came from fear, he told the assembly. We believe it comes from trust and respect. The Elteri representative, Kel Toran, spoke next. We watched in silence when injustice was done. For that, we carry shame. But humanity showed us a better path. Strength with mercy, justice with compassion. Even former enemies were present. The Zuraxian ambassador, having faced trial and served his sentence, rose to speak. My predecessor betrayed the principles of civilization when he orchestrated Ambassador Carter's death, he said. On behalf of my people, I offer a formal apology to humanity. We ask not for forgiveness, but for a chance to make amends. Colonel Jack Miller, now leading Earth's security forces on Nexus Station, had implemented new transparent security protocols. Trust must be verified, he explained to the delegates. But without trust, there can be no peace. Dr. Benjamin Wright's research had led to breakthroughs in interspecies medical care. Earth had opened its universities to students from all species, sharing knowledge freely. William Carter wanted to exchange ideas and culture, Dr. Wright said. Now his vision is becoming reality. The former Council's supreme leader Vrax Sutil watched the proceedings from exile on a remote world. After his trial, he had been allowed to live in peace under supervision. As he viewed the broadcast, he finally understood his mistake. They could have destroyed us all, he told his guard. Instead, they built something better than what we had. The guard, a young human officer, nodded. That's what humans do. We create, even from destruction. Back at Nexus Station, President Howard and the leaders of other species signed the founding document of the new Galactic Assembly. The document began with a pledge. No species shall ever again face destruction for seeking peace. As the ceremony concluded, Ramirez walked through the memorial hall. Holographic images showed Carter's life and work. Nearby, a small memorial honored Captain Samantha Rodriguez and others who had given their lives in the war. We won more than battles, Ramirez said softly. We won the peace that follows. At Earth's diplomatic academy, future ambassadors now studied both Carter's death and the war that followed. The lesson they learned was clear. Humanity's greatest strength was never its weapons, but its capacity to forge a better peace after war. A young diplomat placed flowers at Carter's memorial, then turned to greet alien colleagues. They spoke together easily, without fear or suspicion. The stars, once threatening in their vastness, now offered unlimited potential for cooperation. Species that had been enemies now worked together on scientific discoveries, artistic exchanges, and trade agreements. This is what Carter would have wanted, President Howard said as he prepared to return to Earth. Not vengeance, but understanding. Admiral Ramirez nodded as she looked out at the stars from Nexus Station. We came to the galaxy seeking friends, and found enemies instead. But in the end, we made the friends we sought. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. Humanity would defend itself with fierce determination, but it would build peace with even greater resolve. The war was over. The real journey, of many species working together as equals, had just begun.